thought maybe we should fill up the front.
Somebody should sit in front of me.
Good.
My beautiful timers have to be.
Yeah, we're
Okay, you leave. Hello, and welcome to this Voter Services event from the League of Women Voters in the Edwardsville area with the endorsement of our partner organization, the Edwardsville chapter of the NAACP. President Walt Williams is going to greet you and just say a word. That's the NAACP chapter president.
Can everyone hear me? Yes. I have one of those inside voices. First of all, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Tompkins and the League of Women Voters for allowing the NAACP to be co-sponsors of this event. This must be our 16th year working together, I believe.
It's been a long time.
Both of our organizations believe wholeheartedly that an enlightened voter is the best defense for misinformation and untruths that come out at this time of the year. Secondly, I would like to thank our candidates for their participation tonight and their willingness to run for an important office. Good luck. And most importantly, we would also like to thank our audience for coming out this evening to hear from our candidates. Thank you again.
Thanks, Walt. The League of Women Voters, which celebrated its 100th anniversary not too long ago, is a national organization that is devoted to educating voters and encouraging voting. The NAACP, likewise, with a mandate to advance and promote the achievement of the rights of people of color, has a long history of promotion of informed voting. Democracy requires an informed and involved electorate. The League of Women Voters is affiliated with no political candidate or party as an organization, although the League has positions on certain matters such as education, community welfare, and the environment. Our members reflect a variety of personal political opinions. We are mandated to provide fair and informative voter services event, and that is what we do. Tonight's event includes candidates from District 7 school board members, Glen Carbon Library District board members, and later in the second half, Glen Carbon Village Trustee candidates. All candidates for each race have been invited to the event. Tonight's event will be videotaped and posted on our Facebook page, which is League of Women Voters of the Edwardsville Area. Will be available for later watching and posted on our website, League of Women Voters of Edwardsville Area. We ask that no other recording take place, as the FCC and the League rules require the event not to be edited, but to be broadcast only in its entirety. Since we can only ask relatively few questions tonight, we want to talk about other sources of information regarding the position of candidates. And we are affiliated and recommend the Illinois Voter Guide, which is the League of Women Voters Voter Guide. It includes candidate questions and answers where those are supplied. It is posted on our website, which is League of Women Voters Edwardsville Area, or you can get there through IllinoisVoterGuide.org. The National League also has VOTE 411 as an information source, maybe less specific to Illinois. There are other sources that we have no affiliation with, which I will mention. I think the Belleville News Democrat has a voter guide, and there's something called Our Edwardsville is an organization we are not affiliated with, but they have asked questions and will be posting candidate answers on specifically certain areas such as inclusivity and affordable housing. So if you're interested, that you would look into that. The League supports school funding, and that is a position we always take. For more information on the school bond item that will be on your ballot, there is a meeting this Thursday at 7 p.m. at St. John's Methodist Church to fully explain the bond issue for those of you who are interested. Each candidate will be allotted 3 minutes tonight for an introduction of themselves, their policies and their plans, and their motives for seeking the office. Then each candidate will be allowed 3 minutes to answer each of either 2 or 3 questions that I will ask, probably from the side. You may not hear the questions. I'll try to be audible. They'll be given 3 minutes for each of those responses. And we just ask each candidate to focus on your own policies and opinions rather than that of your opponents. We really are interested in your policy positions and what brings you to the position of running for an office. These are my beautiful timers, and it is my bad that they don't have the signs they usually use to tell you when you have 2 minutes remaining or a minute remaining or 30 seconds remaining. We don't have a lot of candidates tonight, so we have 3 whole minutes for each response. I don't think it's going to be so difficult, but when you get to the end of 3 minutes, they'll hold up their sign to stop you. And so it's up to 3 minutes, of course. There's no necessity to fill the 3 minutes. I'm going to just name the candidates that are up here. We have trustee candidates for Glen Carbon Library District, Carla Iliff and Jacqueline Day. And we have candidates for District 7 School Board, Bob Patey, Joe Bertels, and Leland Olson. You vote for 2 out of 3 of these candidates, and you vote for 2 out of 4 for this position when the time comes. So I'm going to, without further ado, get started with the candidates. I'm going to ask Carla Iliff, who is running as a trustee candidate for Glen Carbon Library District, to present herself.
Thank you. I really appreciate the invitation to attend tonight's event. I've never run for anything before, so this is I brought prepared remarks because I do not want to forget anything. My name is Carla Iliff, and I have been a Glen Carbon resident for about 23 years. My husband Scott is over here. We live near the library. We use it regularly, and so it's important to us that we continue to have a library that's for everybody. I moved to the area after I was honorably discharged from the United States Air Force at the end of the Gulf War. It's about 94, 95. And I attended SWIC, where I received an Associate of Arts degree. After that, I went to SIUE and I got a Bachelor of Science in Sociology. I worked for a few years in finance and then decided to pursue a Master's of Education at the University of Missouri, St. Louis. So what made me want to stay in this area, though, is the community feel. There's a vibe in this community that I just loved. So we decided to go ahead and make it our permanent home. And so my husband and I have both recently retired, and when I learned about the openings at the library, I realized this was a way for me to contribute to the community that I care about so much and that I want to be around for a long time. So I decided to run for the position, and so here I stand tonight.
You ready for a question?
I think so. Go ahead.
All right, the question would be, what skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to this office?
So in addition to my formal education, I spent about 17 years working with students and their families in a public school setting. I previously worked for a financial services firm, and I assisted brokers in the office, I assisted branch personnel, and also clients. So I have extensive experience working with people in a variety of settings. I am analytical, I strive to have a positive impact, I have good listening and communication skills, and I'm committed to solving problems. As an educator, I saw the direct impact of policy decisions on people every day, and I understand the importance of working collaboratively to meet the community's needs. I'm a candidate with integrity, honesty, and a sensible decision-making approach, and I pledge to support innovation and ideas that foster community connections. So those are the skills.
And what are the most pressing issues facing this office? How do you propose to address them?
So the most pressing issues that I'd like to address, for the first one I'd say is funding. I attended the February 21st library board meeting, and I learned there are several projects in progress related to like a leaking roof and carpet that needs to be replaced, and that there are supply chain issues that have increased the cost for those projects. But the current board appears to have done a really good job setting aside funds to cover those expenses. So going forward, I think it's going to be very important to keep funding at levels that enable the library to handle those kinds of costs optimally. I mean, ongoing maintenance issues and ongoing daily costs aren't going to get any cheaper. So knowing that those things are going up in price, we need to keep a handle on the funding. So that's number one. Do I have to list all my important issues?
Go.
Okay, I've got more.
Yeah.
The second one is organization. The Glen Carbon Library is such a valuable resource. When I was a student, you went to the library to check out books or look things up. But now kids can do Lego days, they can do art days, they can get tutoring at the library. And as an adult, I've checked out books, but I've also taken a yoga class there, and I've attended Social Security classes there. So libraries have changed so much over the years, and I'm certain they're going to keep changing as technology changes. So I think we have to look at how the library is organized. And so we might need to change the spaces within the library to enable the community to connect there, not only to technology, but also to each other. So as I've kind of mentioned in my little red card that we created, that I believe that the library has the information that people in our community need that allows them to connect to one another. It builds a stronger community. And so it's super important that we keep the organization and the flow of the library in sync with the times. And we need them to be safe and functional and welcoming for everybody. And then number three, got one more. Number three is a policy review. I think that we really need to look at the policies of the Glen Carbon Library. There's recently been an inordinate amount of attention placed on restricting certain books or activities at the libraries nationwide. And I want to review the Glen Carbon Library policies to ensure that they adhere to the American Library Association's Library Bill of Rights, which holds, among other things, that materials should not be proscribed or removed because of partisan or doctrinal disapproval. I want to make every effort to ensure that the Glen Carbon Library policies prohibit the practice of banning specific books or resources. I just want to say thank you for the moderator. Thank you so much. I want to thank the LWVEA and the NAACP in Edwardsville for organizing the event. And I really thank all of you for taking time out of your night to listen to me ramble on. I appreciate it.
Very well. Thank you very much. We just heard from Carla Elif. I'm calling it Ilif. Sorry. Carla Elif, it is pronounced, and she is running for trustee candidate for Glen Carbon Library District. Another candidate for the Glen Carbon Library District trustee candidate is Jacqueline Day. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Hey everybody, I'm just going to do a quick pulse check. I'm from the Midwest, so I'm going to say good evening, and hopefully you all respond. So I know everybody's still out there and paying attention. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, excellent. Good. We didn't put them to sleep yet, Carla. That's good. Sorry. No, you did perfect. They're all still awake. So, my name's Jackie Day, and I have the honor and privilege of running for the Glen Carbon Library Board of Trustees. I've lived here for just under 20 years now. My husband and I moved down here after I achieved degrees in biology and chemistry and started working at Pfizer and was offered a position down here when Pfizer purchased Pharmacia in Chesterfield. When we first moved down here, we always expected to move back home, back up to Michigan, because that's where our family is. But we fell in love with the community and all the opportunities and resources that are available down here. We had our daughter down here about 10 years ago, and this has become our home now. So it's a real honor to be even accept the potential to represent our community on the Library Board of Trustees. So throughout the time that we lived here, My family has regularly used the library services. My husband studied for both the Illinois and Missouri bar there. My daughter had her first story hour there before she could walk or talk. In fact, she was doing some of the signs along with the storybook about owls. She did a sign for owl. I've served as an election observer at the library and a parent volunteer for my daughter's Girl Scout troop, Troop 278, within those walls. And I believe that access to information is critical, irrespective of race, religion, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status. A library is a place where you can safely ask for guidance and identifying resources freely without fear of judgment or consequences, with privacy and respect. Given my training as a biochemist and a project manager, I'm passionate about using my skills to help our community succeed in its common goals of literacy, education, privacy, and personal growth. I promise to support our library's mission statement, which you can find on their website, to anticipate and meet the needs of the community with innovative programs, strong community partnerships, and a staff committed to excellence and personal service. So again, I'm really honored to be on the ballot. I'm really honored to be speaking to you guys tonight. I appreciate you all showing up and taking an interest in the municipal elections, because all politics are local, and this is important. So thank you for being here.
Would you like a question?
Please.
All right. What skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to this office?
Okay, so the question was skills, experience, and qualities would I bring to the office? So again, as a longtime resident of Glen Carbon, almost 20 years, I've been a huge fan of our library, which, if you didn't know, is award-winning Best Small Library in America in 2010. I mentioned how we've used those doors, how we've used that building, and that I care about protecting our library, its funding and its program offerings, and all residents who enter its doors, and the staff that support them. I think my organizational skills and my genuine passion for the role will help me in all the decisions that need to be made, and I would bring the dedication to see out the full 6-year term to the best of my ability, supporting the staff and all consumers who enter.
Another second question would be, what are the most pressing issues facing this office, and how do you propose to address them?
The question was the most pressing issues facing the office and how do I propose to address them. So Carla and I are both running the same platform to get whatever the term is that you prefer. We both attended the most recent Library Board of Trustees meeting, and we both learned a lot about the programs they have going and how they have already planned for the future, which has been so impressive. But I think that there are still issues that are cropping up. Not just the structural ones that they're already addressing and planning for the future, but as Carla mentioned, the Secretary of State for Illinois has recently proposed reducing funding for all libraries that are banning books based on partisan or discriminatory decisions, which goes both ways. I believe that access to information is critical and should be free, and I think that having the funding to support those efforts is essential. So to me, that's the number one issue that we have is maintaining or even increasing the funding for our library, doing everything we can to prevent cutting of those budgets and those resources that they provide to the community that are essential. There are people in our community that don't have all the access to information in their homes that most of us have. They may not have an internet connection, or they may not know how to use some of the technology that's out there, and the library is a safe place to do that. I don't know about you, but when the pandemic first hit and everybody was locked in and shut down for a while, my family started to go a little stir crazy, and the library offered takeout tubs of activities to do at home. There were only so many shows that we could binge watch on Netflix, and only so much animated shows I could handle with my daughter, who was 8 at the time. I was like, I can't anymore. So being able to take out a microscope and look at slides, or to do some puzzles, or do something different that would keep us active mentally or physically, by taking a walk and looking for some of the things in some of the books we took out, things like that have been such a resource that maybe have been underappreciated from our library. So getting the information out about what's available and protecting what we have and growing what we have for the future. Those are my main concerns. I think a library is a gift to the community, and serving it is a gift to the community. So I would hope that all of you, which I assume you will because you're here and you're gathering the information, I would hope that all of you would go vote now or up to April 4th and really consider the different positions and candidates and how they might best serve our community. So, there you go. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. So you just heard from Jacqueline Day. These are the two candidates for the trustee position of the Glen Carbon Library District that have chosen to be here at present. There are 4 candidates on your ballot, and you choose 2 of them. And you have just heard from Carla Elliff and Jacqueline Day. Thank you very much. So I'll move right over to the school board candidates. You can stay seated up here. There are 3 school board candidates here present tonight. All of the 3 that you will vote for, 2 of 3 on your ballot. There actually is another of 4 NAACP board members, another person, and you'll vote for 1. That person is not here, and these 3 candidates are present, and we'll be hearing from each of them and asking them questions. So I'm going to ask, I always keep these in the order they are on the ballot, for Robert Patey, sorry to mispronounce your name, to come and introduce yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello. I had a whole plan tonight, but my family, we had some goats just give birth just before, and my daughter's really upset that I had to come here. So if I seem a little flustered, I apologize. But I do have 3 kids in the district. I have a junior, a freshman, and a 7th grader at Liberty. My wife and I moved here in 2014 from Ohio. She and I actually met in the Navy. We were chasing drug runners together in the Caribbean, and after that we were like, okay, let's get a little bit calmness in our life, and so we decided to leave the Navy, and it seems like we've moved more out of the Navy than we ever did in the Navy. But we settled here. My wife grew up in O'Fallon, so this is kind of where we have claimed our stand. After having moved to Glen Carbon in 2018, moved up to near Hamel on 12 acres up there. But while I was in Glen Carbon, had the honor of serving on the library board as a treasurer, and glad to see some familiar faces in the crowd. But I'm originally from Bristol, Tennessee. Got a BA in economics from University of North Carolina with a concentration in naval research, or naval science, which led me into the Navy. And then after the Navy, I got my MBA from Virginia Tech with a concentration in corporate finance. And then after that, serving in the corporate world in corporate finance for Lowe's companies at their corporate office in North Carolina. Then eventually moved to O'Fallon, Glen Carbon area, where I got my master's in information technology, which led me to my current role at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. And so that's basically me in a nutshell. The things why I'm running, I think particularly now more than ever, I think everybody wants to feel valued. And I think a lot of what is going on these days, a lot of people are wanting to feel that. You hear a lot of bad things going on in the world today, as far as people feeling sad, people being depressed, and people just want to feel valued. And so I think that's sort of the crux of where I come at in my platform, in the sense that I feel that there are 4 pillars to a great school district. There are the students, there are the parents, there are the teachers, and then there's the community. And for us to thrive as a school district, all four of those have to feel valued. Students need to feel valued, not only in what they're learning and what they're going to gain from what they've learned, but they also need to feel connected to their teachers. In order for teachers to feel connected, they need to feel the value as well. They need to feel the value from the parents and what they contribute to their own, to the children that they're trusted in teaching. And then the community needs to see all of this in concert in order to feel like that when the time comes, when a bond referendum comes up, that it's deserving, and that they know that it's going to be treated with respect and with the fiduciary responsibility that they would like for everything to be taken care of by their local government. So those are kind of the things that I focus on, and I guess I'm ready for a question.
Okay. What skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to this office?
My kids say my skill is talking a lot. But I would say really with the background in corporate finance and my current role in IT program management, I focus a lot on value, interesting theme, whether or not the actions that you're taking are measurable, whether or not you're providing that value in every decision you make. If we're going through a situation and we're coming up with a program or a task or something, it really needs to be not only connected to your mission, but hopefully your mission is measurable. If it's not measurable, then what value are you providing? The students that we graduate, they need to see value in what they experience after school and know that what they learned is helping them. Some of the statistics that are coming out today in the nation in general, you hear a lot about learning loss and things of that nature. So I feel with a focus on metrics and the value that we're going through to provide the education to our children is very important. And I think that is the most beneficial skill set that I bring to this role.
Next question. What are the most pressing issues facing this office, and how do you propose to address them?
So to continue with what I was just saying about value and measuring, I had the last month there went to a meeting that the district had on rolling out its new curriculum for the middle school. Because I have a middle schooler, I'm very interested in knowing what's going to happen and what's going to occur with that. And everybody's very excited on the district side, on the teachers and the administration and the briefing that they came out with. And it was very evident that they put a lot of time, a lot of effort. They're going to roll out a whole brand new curriculum, and everybody's impacted in the middle school area. Teachers are impacted. Staff is impacted because they're all having to do roles that they're not used to and trying to provide this additional service to the students and try to create a connected environment. Students are excited because they're getting electives. But there are some concerned parents at the meeting I was at, because in this era of learning loss and what we hear about going on with learning loss, we're actually reducing the time that students are going to be learning math and English while they're in class in order to make room for all the other electives. That's concerning when those questions are asked of the administration that was presenting this plan, and the curriculum director goes through the effort of explaining, well, it's okay because the teachers are adjusting their learning plans to account for that. But anybody who's taken math, if you're reducing the amount of time that you're learning math, something's getting shortchanged. Either you're going to miss a concept, you're not going to get as many examples of a particular concept to learn, things are going to get lost. So after parents asked all their questions, I raised my hand and I said, so I have one last question, and I can tell you put a lot of effort into this and all that. I said, how do you know when you've got it up and running whether or not you've achieved your goals? What are you measuring? What key performance indicators are you using to know whether all this effort that we're making all the teachers and administration go through, all the change that we're putting the students through, how do we know that it's going to make an impact to my soon-to-be 8th grader after that first year going into the high school? And the response was, We don't know, but by the time we roll it out to the high school, we hope we have that figured out. So we're making decisions, rolling out key programs, modeled off of other schools, which you would think would be already understood. You know, if we're modeling off another school, then hopefully there was a discussion as to why were we modeling it after that school. None of that. We don't know. We're creating a connected environment. We know that. Well, how do you know? How are you measuring that? So, anyway, that's all I've got. Thank you very much. My name is Bob Payne.
You just heard from Bob Robert Patey. The next candidate for District 7 School Board is Jill Bertles. I'm going to ask you to present yourself.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters as well as the NAACP for creating this forum for us this evening. We usually do it at the Wildy only, and so it was a pleasure to be invited to come to the Glen Carbon one as well. So I'm running for re-election to the school board because I value education and I'm excited about the direction that our district is heading. I've been on the board since 1999. Some called me that I'm seasoned or I'm a veteran board member, but having gone through several of these elections does have its perks. I was putting up some signs last week that said, vote for Jill Bertles, and someone asked me where I had them printed and how much did they cost, and after I thought a minute, I thought, I couldn't really tell you, because I said, I've used these since one of my early campaigns, and then they go back in my garage, and 4 years later, we get them back out. So I said, I think that they've served me well, and I hope the voters have said the same thing about my service to our district. My husband and I and our family are all graduates of EHS. We've got one granddaughter that has graduated, 3 more grandkids that are in the district now, 2 more that are 2 and 4 will be coming into our buildings soon. We operate a farm that's in the Dorsey area, so that's in the northern area of the district, and I am invested and committed to being on the school board at District 7. I get to support the students in a variety of ways. I am the vice president of the Edwardsville FFA Alumni Association, and I chair the committee that organizes our annual dinner auction, and we had that last weekend and raised over $21,000 for the Edwardsville FFA program, our students, for scholarships and things. I'm very proud of the work and the support that we get from the community on that project. And I'm also supporting, and you can see me a lot of the events at the high school and at some of the elementary buildings, either drama or the choir or the band, the high school athletics and things like that. So I'm just kind of an all-around person that loves to support the Edwardsville Tiger symbol. And running for re-election at this point was still pretty easy for me. I understand that the decisions that board members make are very important, and they still direct my family, with my grandkids being there, as well as all the other students and the staff at the district. So I feel that I still have the energy and the opinions that will continue to improve District 7. And so these are the reasons why I've decided to run for re-election on April the 4th.
Ready for the question?
I
What
am.
skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to the office?
So as I think about this question, and I appreciate getting these ahead of time because sometimes it's always panic situation when you just get them from the audience the night of the event. But I think of different organizations and businesses and how they're made up, and it's always good to have those new members come in. They've got new innovative ideas, they've got fresh energy, and they help so the work situation doesn't get to be a stale place. But yet it's always good to have the veteran members, and they've worked through some of the challenges, and we can give advice to the newer members. And we've also have some ideas that if we hear some of these ideas, they might have been mentioned or tried in the workplace prior, and they might look good on paper, but yet in actual outcome of this practice of it, it doesn't work out as well as what it might look like. So I feel I can bring some of that historical knowledge to the, keep it with the board. And so that is, through my years, the district's reached a lot of peaks and valleys, whether it's financial or other situations, but I think we've always come out on top, and I'm happy that we can have the history that the district has gone through so we can share that with the newer board members. So as far as on the board, I've been everything from the secretary, vice president, as well as the president, and I've served on all the committees, curriculum, finance, facilities, policy, and negotiations, so I have a lot of that history from being a past board member and know what the outcomes of some of the situations have been. My husband and I farm, and so living in the northern area, I feel like I can support and bring that voice to the table. We have got the area up there, the schools cover the biggest land mass, but yet the student population is one of the smallest ones, or is the smallest in the buildings at the throughout the district. So it's important that everybody has a voice, and being from that rural area, a lot of our supporters up there are for wanting to support the trades and make sure that the students have that exposure to those trades in throughout the district. So we have partnered with Lewis and Clark and sent our students back to Collinsville Vocational School, and so those are a couple of the ways. So the Lewis and Clark, we've sent 15 to 20 kids over there for welding this past year and things like that. So we continue to look for new ways to expose those students to the different trades and other curriculum ideas for the ones that don't want to go back to, or don't want to continue on their traditional college or their universities after graduation.
What are the most pressing issues facing this office, and how do you propose to address them?
So one of the most important issues during this election campaign also is the referendum that we've referenced earlier on the April 4th ballot. And just to get you a little bit more familiar, if you aren't able to make it on Thursday night, it's wanting to make some upgrades and some additions and improvements to some of our schools. We're going to address the safety for our students and our staff to be reinforced by the installation of double entry doors at each of our buildings. Some of them it'll be an easier fix, others will be a little bit harder. We would like to do the renovation at Lincoln Middle School. One of the biggest projects for the building and demolition of the existing building, or some of the existing building that we've tackled for the last several years, as well as improvements to Hamel and Midway Elementary to develop these into top-notch learning environments. And then to address all the other elementary buildings, we're dealing with playgrounds and some of the gymnasiums, as well as adding space to the high school. So it's a very important referendum that's on the ballot, and the work can be done with no change in your property tax rate. So that's something that the board has been focusing on. Another important situation is the retention of our staff. As we know, the teachers and the support staff, they are the face of the district. They teach the students, they see them, the first ones they see in the hallways, the cafeterias, media centers, playgrounds. And during COVID, as was said earlier, these people worked extremely hard trying to keep the students' experience on track. And that was very difficult, and it was very challenging. And there were definitely times of failure, times of success, but right now it's going to be very difficult to keep these teachers retained, and as well as other staff members. So we're trying to do what we can to make them feel like valued as far as working with the pay schedule and work environments and things like that. So those are the two main issues. I'd like to thank everyone for inviting us here and taking the time out of your evening for coming and listening. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. You just heard from Jill Birtles, District 7 School Board candidate. The third candidate we have here for District 7 School Board is Leland Olson. I'm going to ask him to introduce himself.
Thank you, Dr. Tompkins. As you know, my name is Dr. Leland Olson, and I'm vying for a seat on the school board of the Edwardsville School District number 7. My face and name may be familiar, as I was a sitting board member from 2013 to 2021. My wife and I moved to the Edwardsville area in November of 1998, and we have resided here ever since, and we have seen changes that have occurred in the community. We raised 2 children who were products of the education that the district offered. They have gone on and furthered their education at Butler University and Lewis and Clark Junior College, where they have made the dean's list. This is a tribute to the quality of the education that they received in the district. I own and manage the Olson Veterinary Clinic, which was established here in 2001 in Glen Carbon, and has actively supported excellence in both the classroom and all the extracurricular activities. Okay.
Oh, are you ready for a question?
I'm a man of few words.
What skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to this office?
Okay, first off, experience matters. I had the opportunity to sit on the board from 2013 through 2021. In those 8 years, we battled the finances, and we were fortunate for a proposition to pass that I worked very hard for and allowed the district to stabilize itself financially, and so that now we have technology in all the classrooms, and each and every student has a computer in their hands. I am pragmatic, and I'm a good listener, who is a team player, or when needed, a leader, who leads by example. I use these qualities every day in my business, and there's times when I need to be creative and think out of the box to solve issues or problems, which is common. Above all, communication is essential. We are expected on the board to be caretakers for the stakeholders and make the tough decisions to lead the district. We may not like the expected results, but we still have to have the backbone to be the leaders. Okay.
And what are the most pressing issues facing this office? How do you propose to address them?
The first one that is on most people's mind is the bond issue. The passage of the bond goes along with one of my campaign's platforms. That is providing a safe and secure environment for each and every student and faculty member. We need to update the facilities so that we are not in the news as a casualty. We need to provide the safest facilities possible, and the bond would just do that. We need to actively recruit full-time and substitute teachers, especially in the elementary classes. I've already talked to Dr. Shelton, and we have talked about steps to rectify the shortage. Short-term, this may be done by increasing pay to be competitive with the neighboring districts. But also we need to lobby the state to be able to even the playing field with neighboring states in terms of pensions and certifications. And as the district, we need to support policies that continue to provide opportunities for each and every student, regardless of the pathway they choose. We need to be creative and encourage partnerships with corporations to open up more options for students. And the possibilities can be limitless. So that is really, in a nutshell, why I am running. I was on 8 years. I enjoyed it thoroughly. We're empty nesters, and my wife said I needed something to do. And so, like everybody else has echoed, I echo that. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and the NAACP for allowing us to talk with you.
That was Leland Olson, candidate for District 7 School Board. So we have just heard from 3 candidates for District 7 School Board, Robert Bob Patey, Jill Bertles, and Leland Olson. And when you get your ballot, you will vote for 2 in that particular race. We have also heard earlier from Carla Elliff and Jacqueline Day, who are trustee candidates for Glen Carbon Library District. So thank you very much, everyone, for taking your time, and we found it very interesting.
I picked up some information about the bond issue and left it in my car. So I'm going to pick that up during the break.
There is going to be a break. She beat me to it. There's going to be a break because we have Glen Carbon Village Trustee candidates, but they had a meeting tonight. So we hope they might be with us in about 15 minutes. There's coffee, cookies, I think, I saw. And so if anyone wants to stay and listen to those candidates, they'll be here a little later on. And thank you to the candidates we had in the first half. Welcome to the second half of our League of Women Voter NAACP Edwardsville Chapter voter candidate presentation event tonight. We have in the second half 3 candidates for Glen Carbon Village Trustee. On your ballot, you vote for 3 candidates, and we have 3 candidates, so it's not a highly fought over. But however, we invited them to just present their positions and get you familiar with who to vote for someone, you really should have know something about them. So I'm going to ask the first candidate, Mark Foley, to present himself to the voters.
Hello, my name is Mark Foley. I am 57 years old, came to the village of Glen Carbon as an employee of February of 1989. I was a police officer in Glen Carbon, patrolman, then sergeant, and retired in 2019 as the administrative lieutenant. During that time, as administrative lieutenant, I was in charge of investigations, dispatch, and I've actually designed and implemented the last emergency service plan for the village. I have been on the trustee since May of 2019, was a write-in candidate, and during that time I was on the finance committee and the public safety committee. Currently I am on the public services committee and the public safety committee, and also the representative between the cool cities, Mr. John there, and the village. During that time, I have learned a lot in the village, and I will be perfectly honest, the village, in my 30 years here, this is probably the best. Everybody has gotten along and worked together, and we have gone out to the public and public involvement at this time. That's about it. I can pass it on to Nikisha.
I have a few questions, if I might.
We're not going to do one each.
But you can make it as brief as you want, okay? What skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to the office? Do you feel you covered that?
I have covered that. I have been with 4 years with the village. We have had many controversial plans and ideas and ordinances. The current one that we're working on is the Public Service Committee, and we're working on a new water treatment plant for the village.
What are the most pressing issues facing this office, and how do you propose to address them?
The biggest thing is getting the public involvement and the public buying in on what the village is doing.
And what are your thoughts about the Glen Carbon Comprehensive Land Use Plan and Glen Carbon's future direction?
Currently, the comprehensive plan has not been updated since 2015 was the last update. We have just signed a contract with H3 Strategic. The plan is going to be a 9 to 12 month plan. We are going to be going out to the public and the businesses asking for input on development of the plan, and that will be coming, and we will be getting out to everybody in the near future.
Okay.
Thank you. So the next candidate, Nikisha Omatola. Please present yourself to the voters.
Hi, my name is Nikisha Omatola. I'm originally from Peoria, Illinois, and I came to Missouri to get my broadcast journalism degree many, many years ago from the University of Missouri. I also have a background in marketing and strategy and MBA from Washington University. I've been on the board for 2 years. I took Bob Marcus's place, our honorable mayor, Bob Marcus's place when he appointed me when he became mayor. And I'm very excited to continue to serve the village.
What skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to this office?
I think my communication skills, my marketing skills, and my analytical skills would benefit this office. I'm currently serving on the Public Safety Committee as well as the Finance Committee.
What are the most pressing issues facing this office, and how do you propose to address them?
I think one of the most pressing issues is development in the village. I think that we need to be responsible with our development and very thoughtful about how we develop and how we work with people in the community and the citizens and make sure that people are pleased with what we're doing to move the village forward.
And what are your thoughts about the Glen Carbon Comprehensive Land Use Plan and just that really future of Glen Carbon, their future direction, or future direction?
Well, I think we're moving in the right direction. I think definitely Glen Carbon is a place that people want to work and live. I think Mark said it best when he talked about the fact that, you know, we are currently working on that plan, so it's not complete. We will be requesting input from the public on that. So I think that's very important. But yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction. I think our board works great together, and it's been a really wonderful experience working with them.
Thank you. These candidates have had a long meeting tonight, and they're keeping their comments rather brief. So the last candidate, Victor Smith, please present yourself.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to thank you guys for making time to listen to us tonight. I want to thank my fellow board members here because, as they said, it's just a great, great opportunity for us. We work well together. We have great leadership. We've got a great police force. We've got a great community, and you all are part of that. Thank you so much. I'm Victor Smith. I'm a local attorney, licensed in Illinois, Missouri, and Tennessee. I stay very busy. I've lived in Glen Carbon since 2001, and it's been great. We raised our family here. My daughter got married, and she and her husband and 2 kids live here too. So we're really excited. I've been part of the volunteer boards of Glen Carbon since 2005. So 18 years of service, and it's been great. I love it. I love being a part of such an exciting place and a wonderful place for families and businesses.
What skills, experience, and qualities would you bring to this office?
Well, besides my outstanding wit and, you know, I'm a little shy from time to time. No, I just love being part of the team. I've watched Glen Carbon double. It's probably done more than that in the 22 years that I've lived here. It's exciting. It's great to be on the board. It's great to see some of the same faces and be able to work with some of the same people that you see from time to time, and everybody seems to have the same general forward flow for the community.
What are the most pressing issues facing this office, and how do you propose to address them?
Well, seems like a lot of times, and this kind of piggybacks on what Nikisha was saying, part of what you're seeing in the community is a lot of development. We get a lot of pushback when a lot of the newer developments come in, especially the bigger ones. You know, it's good though, when you think about, we've got a place that's beautiful, we've got a place that's safe, we've got a very responsible set of people that work in City Hall, and the people, our boys in blue, and the people on our board, not to mention the constituents. Easy for me to say. But it's a difficult balance to keep the growth going, but still keep the small town feel. So that's why we look for feedback from you all, and we're glad to get it.
And what are your thoughts about the Glen Carbon Comprehensive Land Use Plan and its future direction, and the future direction of Glen
What
Carbon?
Mark said. No, seriously, I worked on it a long time ago, 2015, when I was part of planning and zoning. And, you know, it's exactly that, it's a plan. It is a way for us to take our corridors, we've got 159, we've got 157. It's obvious that those places are set up for commercial development, because that's where all the traffic is. Some of the other areas, you know, that's kind of where the planning is, right? And we do look forward to working with H3 and with the community to figure out what is the best way forward, and we're excited about it, and that's coming very soon. Thank you, guys. One more thing, vote for us.
Thank you. Thank you. And you've just heard from Mark Foley, Nikisha Omatola, and Victor Smith, and you are voting for 3 people when they are on the ballot, so that is not going to be a difficult decision for you, I don't think. I wanted to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank all the candidates for coming and just presenting yourself. I think it's respectful to the voters that you come and present yourself to them. I know it's tiring and I know it's challenging, but I appreciate it. I want to thank my committee, the League of Women Voters Committee. I've really backed away from a lot of the hard work, and everybody's picked it up, and especially you, and Masters, especially you. Congratulations and thank you. I want to thank the Glen Carbon Senior Center. Felicia Volkel, thank you for hosting us and making us welcome. I want to thank Brent Langley for videotaping us tonight. I want to remind you that tomorrow at the Wildey Theater at 7 o'clock is the League of Women Voters and NAACP candidate presentation for the Edwardsville candidates. And also that Thursday, this week, at St. John's Methodist Church at 7 o'clock, there is a meeting about the school bond issue. If anybody wants to be more clear what is included and more in depth even than what we've heard today. So, well, thank you very much, voters. Thanks for being here and informing yourselves. And good night.